Good morning, and welcome back to Daily Dhamma, a letter to our children. Today is March 25th, and our reading is Reconciliation. Dehumanizing opponents is a common tactic in conflicts. It's easier to call someone a communist, Nazi, or Illuminati than to engage them in dialogue. If we're never going to see that person again, maybe it doesn't matter. But when it comes to family members, neighbors, and fellow citizens, the question becomes, how the heck do we make peace with a commie, Nazi, racist, sexist, homophobe anyway? For starters, we might stop treating others like caricatures. Right speech means not smearing someone for our own political ends. Reconciliation is easier if we don't call people names in the first place. If we paint ourselves into a corner by denouncing people who disagree with us, we're going to have to take it back. The alternative to making peace is living in constant strife. Maybe it's just us, but it does seem that vilification of people who disagree with one another has become something of a national sport, international sport for that matter. Around the world, we find people who are more than willing to engage in tearing down others and glorifying people who agree with us. It makes it awful hard to come together after the fight is over or after the disagreement is over. And we don't have any real blinding flash of insight into how to change that, other than the fact that maybe when they say faith, hope, and charity, charity in that case means giving other people the benefit of the doubt. Why not? It is also worth noting the kind of reconciliation that has occurred between enemy armies, even more so than civilian populations. And I've got a couple of examples. One, George Patton, as a young man, liked to travel with his family to Civil War battlefields where many of his ancestors had fought on the side of the South. And on one such excursion, they were at the site of the Battle of the Wilderness, and there was an old guy characterized as an old gentleman wearing pork chop whiskers, and he was describing what the battle was, and there was the German military attaché corrected the guy, corrected George Patton, but the old man shuffled forward and he said, "The young gentleman is quite right. General Early was on that nearby rise. I was in that battle with," and he named a New York regiment, "and gentlemen, we ran like hell." Now, they could reconcile. What's wrong with the rest of us? They didn't find it necessary to tear down statues or to dig up graves or to vilify people. Here's another example. In November of 1965, Hal Moore and his battalion at Landing Zone X-Ray in the Ya Drang Valley fought the first battle against North Vietnamese regulars, and that was in November of 1965. Almost 30 years later, in October of 1993, they finally were able to re-enter Vietnam and travel to the battlefield, where they had dinner with former enemy combatants. Again, they can reconcile, but the people, the civilians, can't. I find that very difficult to believe. So happy trails to you until we meet again.